Our guest superpower is making history, or as we like to say, making herstory. She first made history by being offered the highest paid contract in women's football history, and she made history a second time by becoming the first female athlete to own a shoe company. We're going to love this conversation today, and you're going to love the startup stories you'll hear from this amazing guest. Stay tuned for the Startup Life Live show. Let's glow, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Startup Life Live show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I got to tell you, I'm pretty sure I know what y'all are crawling through every single day. The high level of uncertainty and the extreme joys of when you nail it and you figure it out. It's a phenomenal journey. And you never lose. You always win when you launch a business. Please remember that no matter what happens, you're a winner. And I'm grateful that you carved out time to tune in and up your founder game, because as you do better, your business will do better. A big yoo-hoo to live viewers tuning in, and a hearty welcome to the replay viewers and podcast listeners. I'm telling you, the startup stories we're going to be diving in today are inspirational and will inform and maybe give you some breakthroughs for your own founder and startup journey. If you're watching from a video, I would be so grateful for a click on that like button right there. And if you're tuning in from YouTube and you haven't done so already, I would love your subscribe love and click on that bell icon. But even more importantly, come on over and join the Startup Life Live meetup group, because this way you will receive a deep dive into each guest that we host. You'll get a wonderful bio and background and just the occasional alert for whenever we are going live and going to be sharing the good information. Remember, this show is about amplifying diverse founders around the world. So your support really means the world to me and to those founders who are tuning in and getting the nuggets they need to expand and grow. So just a few brief and delicious announcements. I just always start them off with, you got to go to Arlen's Academy. Hop on over there. She's always adding amazing information. I will never get tired of supporting and promoting Arlen's work in the world. She is extraordinary, and she really is about adding wind to your sails. And then one of the best places to really up your game with your pitch deck. Allison Byers is the founder of Scroobius, and they make sure that your pitch deck is in the right flow and exactly what investors want to see and hear. And the pricing is so affordable. Come on. It's, certainly maybe $20 a month. Okay. And you're going to get peer support. You're going to get feedback. Pay a little more. You're going to get some wonderful one-on-one coaching. So please hop on over to scroobius.com/pricing and receive 15% off first tier pricing when using the promo code Ande15. Woohoo! And then one of my favorite VC funds out there in the world is Hustle Fund. And Hustle Fund co-founder Elizabeth Yen, as they say, we were founders before we sold out and became VC. So we know just how amazing and terrible startup life is. And their team brings real talk and real advice to their relationships. Please visit the link in the show notes, folks, and to read and grab a copy of Elizabeth's How to Raise a Seed Fund. And then, visit hustlefund.vc to learn more about this remarkable group. Okay, so I'm just going to jump right in and do our introduction of our wonderful guest, because, you founders are working so hard, and I know that you are going to love this story. But I just want to remind all of you founders, before I get started, please be sure to reach out and ask for help, ask for what you need. And especially you female founders, women are often good at capturing crumbs. You don't want the crumb, you want the crown. And so I want you to always remember to ask for help. You need an introduction. You need some wind in your sails. Whatever you need, ask for it. You never know. And especially here on the show, it's very easy to pop your questions into the comment section. We'll pop them up on the screen. someone could hear and someone could answer. I've got the testimonials that prove that. Okay. So let me introduce you to an amazing guest. That's right. It's Santia Deck. And she's a social media influencer with over 800,000 loyal and engaged followers. She's a published author, fitness model, TV personality, public speaker, and a former track and field collegiate athlete. And she made history, as I said earlier, by being offered the highest paid contract in women's football history. But most recently, she added successful startup founder and CEO to her long list of wins with the launch of TRONUS, an innovative footwear brand. Oh my gosh, you are going to love hearing this story. Let's bring her to the room. Yay, Santia! Get the clappers out, everybody. Big round of applause for you. Oh, we're going to have to hit that mute button. There we go. Almost there. Yes, there we go.
Oh. Thank you all for having me. I'm super excited for this interview.
Oh my gosh, everybody. Of course, I had to look up Santia's name. Are you ready for this? Talk about being your name. Santia means a pioneering spirit. Hello. And Santia, you are a natural born leader, highly focused and achievement oriented.
Wow.
Nailed it, right?
I didn't even know that. Hey, that's awesome.
Well, I just thought it was just such a cool name. Thank you, Mom of Santia, yes, for that. But it was just so wonderful. I want to say hi to some folks who are joining us today, and the one and only Mia. Woohoo! Thank you, Mia. I know I'm so excited for this too. And Mia likes to hop along her different platforms. So here she is on YouTube, but also she is over here on Facebook. But as you know, I love to promote Mia's work in the world. So I'm just going to pop it up right now. She's the host of Shit We Don't Talk About with Mia Voss. Go search for it on your podcasts, wherever you tune into podcasts. It is such delicious conversation. Nobody brings the topics better than Mia Voss about things that we don't normally want to talk about. So remember, folks, tuning in later, the links are in the show notes. Otherwise, go find that out. So where are you hanging out today, Santia?
So I live in Atlanta. So I actually just moved to Midtown from Alpharetta. So I'm a suburban girl, but now I am in the city. So yay! I will see how I love it.
I love it. There's nothing better than city life, I have to tell you. In fact, I make all my decisions in suburban life based on how close everything is. Can I get there and around the corner? So before we get started, I know that you came from a highly focused family. Mom did a great job raising you and your siblings to be achievement oriented, but also you got into a lot of sports growing up. Track and field, yes, and then you segued into football. Share with everybody a little bit of that origin sports background.
Sure. So a lot of people don't know, but I actually started with tennis. Tennis was my first sport at 4 years old. And wow. Funny enough, the instructor told my mom after a year that we were too strong because we were hitting the balls over we thought that was the point. They're like, no, I think you need to maybe play softball. But funny enough, I actually wanted to be a runner at the age of, I guess I'll say about 5, but I wasn't old enough. So my mom decided at 6 to finally put us in track. And when she did, it became my life. I ran track from the age of 7 to 23, and I'm now 30. So I went through college, went to Texas A&M, had a scholarship, full scholarship, and it helped me honestly with everything else that I've been doing in sports.
Yeah, but tell everybody when you got into football and when was the Women's Football League formed?
Yeah, so I got into football a year after graduating in 2014 from college. Okay. I was looking for something to do because I was no longer a runner, and I was like, hey, I still want to be active. I still want to be an athlete. I still want to compete. And I was driving one day, randomly saw a flag football sign to come out and try out. I was like, why not? My brothers played football. When I was younger, I was outside doing the drills and going to some of the camps for fun. And I went to a tryout, and the rest was history. After that, I played flag for about, 5 years? And then I actually ended up making the international team. I traveled literally around the world playing flag.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
that segued into rugby, which I was actually training for the Olympics in 2019 to make the USA team, but I got injured. And then tackle football came and that came around 2020, right before the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, it kept getting pushed back.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the league ended up not making it because
Sure.
way too much going on with.
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
was a pandemic.
yeah, oh, got too much going on. We understand completely, and we've got finally some good role models. The Amy Wambach and the whole everything going on with the women's soccer league. So I know the women's football league has some great representation out there, and with, of course, the women's basketball league, it can happen.
For
And
sure.
I just love that. Graduated from college, I was looking around. What do I want to do? Oh, look at that flag football game over there. Want to join that? Folks, you can hop on YouTube and you can see some great videos of Santia running and doing remarkable sports. But I think this is what led you, right, to become an entrepreneur. And so I always love to ask my guests, Santia, what happened that you said, oh, I want to launch a business? Because it's great when people can pay you to work and all of that, but to launch a business requires a whole different mindset, a heart set. Had you had any examples growing up, or were you hustling product while you were at the track field?
Well, I actually grew up in an entrepreneur family.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so my mom, she was an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. My stepfather is an entrepreneur. So he honestly, all of the influence came from my household. So when we were younger, we were outside with lemonade stands and doing different things like that. We would like create like puppet shows when we were younger as well to just get money and do things. So I feel like it was just kind of in me. So when I got into social media all the way back in 2012, when I realized, okay, I could actually possibly make money from doing this, I just went all in. And it wasn't anything that I had to second guess. I felt like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because I started to notice when I was posting my videos of me like running track and working out, I was inspiring other people to get fit, to get off the couch, to take better care of their health. And so I realized, okay, I can not only inspire and motivate and possibly change people's, lives through social media, but I can also get paid from doing this. So my mom, she helped me build a brand. Right after college, I went right into fitness training. I had a fitness DVD, fitness products, and my mom is my manager as well. She's also the COO of my shoe company.
Excellent. Yay, mom.
Yeah, so it was my parents, to be quite honest.
Well, and Cynthia, this is wonderful, because I think parents, the best thing you can teach your child, well, that how to self-soothe when they're trying to fall asleep, but also how to be self-directed to do something, because sometimes we have to do gigs, right? Instead of get paychecks, and gigs can lead to businesses. So understanding the flow of entrepreneurship, there's a wonderful organization out in the world, Santia, called build.org. And they come into high schools and train students how to be an entrepreneur. So what you gained from watching your family and then having your mom help you build your brand for your fitness, which what's the name of the fitness one with abs? I love the name.
Oh, Queen of Abs.
Queen of Abs. It is the truth, 100%. So good. And that's how you built your followers, right? You got up to 800,000?
Yes.
And is that across, what were your primary social media platforms for that?
So in totality, I have almost 3 million followers combined on all of my platforms. Wow. But on Instagram alone, I have almost 900,000.
Yeah. Congratulations. Everybody watching or listening right now knows how hard it is to get one follower.
Hey, it definitely takes a lot of work, and it's almost a second job. Social media is, that is my job full time.
It is 100%, folks, with the branding, especially a product brand, especially being the face of your product. You have to be on social media with discipline and creativity and a wonderful ability to communicate. So you nailed that brilliantly. I just want to say a quick hello to Tiffany. Hey, Tiffany Maddox. So happy that you're here and tuning in. And one of our favorite fans in the world, up from Canada, Ottawa, Canada. It's Brent Manuel, and he always is supporting and promoting and amplifying diversity, and especially neurodiverse. So we love to amplify Brent's work in the world and how he helps organizations make sure they are hiring disabled folks in their organizations, because we know that the goal is to have disability and innovation linked together as we move forward in the world. Okay, so my understanding is you just weren't happy with the shoe gear for flag football and for other moments of working out and getting strong. So talk to us about how you fell in love with the footwear industry, and what you learned and why you wanted to create a new footwear brand, because why you, right? How did your lived experience get you to this point? Share with everyone.
It's honestly a very unique story. I was actually a brand ambassador for another shoe company, and I was selling the heck out of their shoes. And the designer came to me one day and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about creating your own signature shoe?" And me being a sneakerhead and I love fashion, and if you're a Michael Jordan fan or Allen Iverson fan, everybody wanted their own shoe, probably for. So it made sense to me, and I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And pretty much he and I had a conversation, and I told him I wanted a shoe that was a combination of a Balenciaga and a Jordan. So I wanted the look, the feel, the high quality of a Balenciaga, but I wanted the performance side of a Jordan. And he sketched it up, got it in the first try. There was barely anything I had to tell him to change. And I posted it on Instagram, and it went crazy. Everybody wanted the shoe immediately. I'm like, hey, this is a concept. This isn't even real yet. And then he said, okay, let's do a whole line. Forget just one shoe. And so we talked about the colors. He sketched everything up again. I posted it on LinkedIn, and it went viral. And that's when we knew, okay, we might have something.
Oh, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, my mom being my mom, she came in and she was like, okay, let's do market research. Let's make sure that you have the following that would actually buy these products. And lo and behold, I didn't even know most of my followers are sneakerheads. And so having that data, that is so important as an entrepreneur. I'm just going to throw that gem in there. We decided, with the help of the designer who also worked for all the big shoe companies, he helped guide us through everything that we needed. Yeah. We created TRONUS, but it was definitely a leap of faith because I was scared. I'm going to be quite honest. I was scared because I was like, okay, we have to compete against the Nikes, the Adidas, these really big brands. Like, will anybody care? Would they like my baby? That feeling.
Of course. And folks here know that I often say, remember, if you're worried about competition, walk down the bread aisle. There's plenty of room. But it is very scary because they have a ton of resources behind them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How did you come up with the name TRONUS?
My mom. Just like she came up with Queen of Vows. My mom is really good at picking up powerful names and meanings. But pretty much we were looking for something powerful, something that kind of had a royal feel to it, because Queen of Vows is my brand. Yeah. And she was just, I think she literally texted me at maybe 3 a.m. and was like, I got the name. And I was like, okay, what is it? She was like, TRONUS. And I was like, what does that even mean? And she was like, it means throne in Greek. And I was like, oh, wow.
It means throne?
Yes, it means throne in Greek.
TRONE, the chair you sit in, the throne.
Yep.
Mom nailed it.
She did. She always knows it. So I can say that she's always good with picking names.
Well, and folks, just because Santia has all these thousands and sometimes millions of followers, and many of them are sneakerheads, don't think for a second that was all she needed, because customers are so good at saying, oh, yes, we love this. And oh, yes, we'll do this and we'll behave this way. But I can't wait to get on the other side and find out what happened when you launched. But we have to have a few steps between the customer saying, yes, we would love this. And you got that good feeling. And you talked about getting the data, which is so important. But then you had to figure out from the sketch to the manufacturing process. Yes. How did you, and you know what I'd love to do, folks? I want to bring up the website. Can I do that? because let me just go over to my Chrome tab here. I want everybody to get a good feel for this product while we're talking. Okay. There's the queen herself standing, not on her throne, representing, look at all these colors. And this gives you an idea. And you have one of the most important footwear items as a mother of two sons, the sandals.
Yes.
The Velcro. That is absolutely.
Everybody loves the slides. That's probably one of our best sellers right now.
Excellent. But look at, okay, everybody, you know what colors I'm loving in there. Oh, geez, they're beautiful. And I'm just going to keep scrolling down, and you selling plenty of other things. I'm on the shop side of the website, everyone. So come on, if you want to go get it, look at all of that. So I just wanted to take a moment to share with everybody the wonderful product line before we get into the details, because those shoes don't make themselves, right? So what did you have to learn? I mean, and again, you had the really hard part worked out, which is you had a built-in community, Santia, but now you had to go, all right, where are we going to get these made? Please share.
So, again, our store is very unique. Our designer, his name is Jamie Sills, by the way. He actually lived in China for 8 years. And he actually had his own shoe company. So he actually already had the connections to the best manufacturers in China. He literally made sure that, he did all of his due diligence before sending anybody our way. And we had a chance to actually talk to who we're working with now on the phone. We got a chance to look inside the actual facility to make sure it was no funny business going on, and so he honestly was the one that connected us to our manufacturer. Now, does that normally happen? No. We were just very, very lucky and highly favored by God to have someone that could kind of walk us through this whole process, because otherwise most people go to China to make sure they actually meet these people. They go and check out everything.
That's right.
Where their products are going to be. So knowing that he already did that, it was
Santia, can you say again how you met him? How did you know him?
So he was a designer for another company.
Right.
He asked me.
And when you were the brand ambassador there, that's how you met them. Okay.
That's how I met him. So social media, everything has came from Instagram, to be quite honest.
Yeah. I understand that completely. Building those relationships via social.
Yes.
Wow. Talk about, it was divine. Because folks, we had Olgi, the founder of The Difference sneaker, and it's a heelless technology, Santia. His family gave him all their savings and sent him to China to live for a year to figure it out.
I actually know him.
Oh, you know Olgi. Yay. Oh, he's wonderful. So we have a deep appreciation for that level of knowledge. So how did you come up with pricing? How did you figure out all this? So you found the manufacturer, and but you also had to figure out the pricing. Can you talk a little bit about that step as well?
Yeah, so definitely market research is everything. So we had to make sure that we were competitive. I mean, we weren't lowballing ourselves, but also weren't going so high that it was just impossible. So for us, we made sure that we were in a happy medium when it came to pricing.
Yeah.
But me being a sneakerhead myself, I knew what people are like, what we would pay, what we're not going to pay, like what's way just too high for us. Right. So doing that, we also made sure that we had, we did, again, the market research, but we also had conversations with other, not sneaker designers, but just people that are in the shoe industry. I also made sure that I did polls as well. So again, that data part of everything to see what would you pay for a sneaker? What would you pay for a slide? And what's too high, what's too low? What would it need in order for you to want to pay this much? So we did a lot of data and polls and talking to my followers and audience. So it's funny that, we say that, we created this shoe, but in reality, my followers were the ones that actually helped to create this, because we did everything based off of what we knew they would want, down to the color, down to the feel, down to the design. So we made sure that the whole way through the process, we were letting them know, hey, this is what's going on. Do you like this? Is it too much? Is it too little? And we ended up coming up with our high tops, and then now our low tops and our slides.
Oh my gosh, I'm having an Andelicious moment, everybody. Oh my gosh, that's just so brilliant too, because so many founders they have a little bit of the engineer in them, and they decide that they think the world will want what they have. And of course, Steve Jobs was a perfect example of that, right, in the tech world. But in your world, well, you built in public is what you did, as they say in the gaming industry.
Yes.
You built your Oh my gosh, I felt a song coming on. But you built your sneaker in public and got all that great information to make sure you were meeting your customers' needs. Oh my, I see a case study on this. This is so brilliant,
Yes.
and sometimes often ignored. So now your customers not only love you to pieces, obviously, but now they're falling in love with the shoe. Why? Because you valued their feedback.
Exactly.
That's an delicious moment every time. So, okay, so now you're getting everything ready. How long did you spend on this? How much time do you think it took you to do the polls, to get all the information from China, to understand the inventory and get the data?
It was about a 2-year process
Yeah.
before we actually launched to the public, and it wasn't always easy, to be quite honest, because just learning about something that we had never stepped foot in, it's just a whole new market. It was a lot to take in, and it was a lot to research and just do our due diligence and all that stuff. So we wanted to make sure before we actually had the actual physical product in people's hands that we knew everything we needed to know, so that there was no hiccups, there was no issues. So it was about a 2-year process.
Yeah. And again, and remember, folks, these companies are not built overnight. There's that mythology out there, right, Santia?
Oh, and we launched at the pandemic. So imagine that. In the heart of the pandemic in 2020.
Yeah, well, a lot of people were out walking.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly.
but they weren't doing contact sports, that's for
No,
sure, but they still needed to run around. Who can use these sneakers? Who I
um
know there's sneakerheads, but every day anybody or just athletes, where do you
yeah,
fall in? Who is your market?
literally surprisingly everybody.
Yay.
And at first, of course, like because I am an athlete and I'm in this fitness industry, we designed it for at first just people that wanted to work out and wanted to have a nice shoe that was comfortable and light. But when we looked at our analytics, we realized that there were kids as young as 13 and as old as 80 years old buying our shoes. So it was like, okay, this is different. So it's for everybody. Now we are coming up with sport specific shoes and specific, reasons for different shoes or
Yeah.
whatever. But our main shoe is for everybody.
Yeah. I love that because, you started off with a segment, right? You knew you had your built-in community. How many did you think that you needed to sell immediately to just start getting some feedback? What was your goal when you first launched for sales?
So I always aim super high. So I wanted to sell out. I didn't have a number. I just said I want to sell out.
So you
To
had
be
an inventory run. How many pairs did you order in your first run?
Our first run, we had about 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how'd you do in selling out, Goddess?
We did pretty good. We didn't sell all the way out, but we came close. I would say that.
Well, and what's great about you, Santia, is you set the bar high. You'll reach for the stars. You'll make it to the moon that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And set the bar high so that you can continue to find things out. And so what did your customers tell you once you launched? And because, we had Billy Footwear, he's a disabled founder and had created a shoe that folks who have very minimal hand capability could have the independence. It's a zip-on sneaker. And his first order, 85% were unusable, but he didn't have your person who made sure that they had a good run. And so that was his learning moment, and went and found the right folks to build his sneaker line. What did you learn from your customers when you launched? What did the reviews look like? How honest were they? What kind of changes did you feel that you had to make after you launched?
Yeah. So honestly, we got, I would say 85% like we love the shoe. But of course so just to tell you a little bit about how they even got to our customers' hands, that process. Again, we launched in the pandemic. So if anybody remembers what was going on at that time, the manufacturers were having issues, the ports were clogged up, it was delay, delay, delay. Even the biggest companies like the Nikes and Adidas weren't even getting their shipments in right before the holidays and everything. So we were launching and trying to get our customers their shoes by Christmas. So we were having a lot of delays. We were having issues because we were also um, like trying to avoid the Chinese New Year, because once that happens, everything shuts down, and we wouldn't have gotten our shoes till next summer. So we had so much pressure um, trying to get our shoes out, trying to make sure that all of the changes that we needed made were made on time. So we didn't have, like, at first the happiest customers, because we had to keep pushing the launch date back, the delivery date back. But thank God that we did finally get it literally out at the last hour, right before it was going to be too late to get your shoes. They would have to wait till to next summer, not that summer, but next summer, to get their shoes, and that would have been the end of us.
Yeah.
So we had those complaints at first, like, where's my shoes? It's been like an extra month. It's been a few weeks. What's going on? And then when they got them again, they were super happy. But there were some that got shoes that had defects and different things like that. It just happens with shoes.
Yeah.
Most times. And then we learned too that our first high tops on the back of the sock part was kind of scraping up against their heels. So we didn't even realize that. So we had to change that around, which now they're perfect pretty much. But back then it was like, okay, we didn't even know this. As much as we wore our shoes, but we didn't wear them. So I guess to the point to where we could, I guess it was scraping the back of our heels. So
well, and
it was
also,
a lot to learn. It was a lot.
Oh my God. Really? And I have so much to say about all of that, especially when the pandemic and manufacturing in China, which has a whole nother scheduling challenge that's just over the top. And then you've got these customers who are chomping at the bit going, well, I want my shoe. Yeah. So my first question is, how did you nurture the customers during that difficult time? What was your communication to say, to keep them hanging in there?
Yeah. So I went live a lot on my own platform, on my company's platform, to actually talk to them.
Yeah.
And tell them, hey, this is what's happening. Like, I want to be as transparent as possible. We want you guys to have your shoes more than you want them. Trust me. Yeah. But we are literally fighting against something that we have no control over, which
That's
is
right.
The pandemic. And honestly, most of our customers were very, very understandable. Like, they were super like, okay, I get it. We even went as deep as calling them. Like, my team called some of these people that were having, the super, super big complaints. And we're saying, hey, like, we just want to let you know you're getting your shoes, but this is what's happening. We really want you to have your shoes. We appreciate you. We're even going to throw in an extra pair of masks and socks.
Nice.
So we went very deep. Like, our customer care to me is everything, because it is the reason that we're successful is because of them. So we did everything we could. We sent emails, we sent text messages. Like I said, we went live. I even did a Zoom call with people that had, like, the customers that had bought the shoes or whatever, the pre-orders, so that they knew what was happening. But it was just a lot of, like, literally spoon feeding people, just saying, hey,
that's
like,
right.
We're here, we want you to have your shoes. We're not going anywhere, but this is what's happening. So
yeah, I love that, because you're a very young company. This is your first entry into the marketplace, and you showed up like a pro.
Thank you.
And no, you didn't try. You did. And I just want to thank you for that and for sharing that story. Because, folks, you want to hide right under the covers behind something and just say, why bother? But that constant communication, and I'm very big on Twitter. I really love Twitter. And that's where I go when I have any customer complaints for anybody, because I get responses immediately. And that's what you did. You responded immediately. You empathized. You shared your story, and you also you kept nurturing the relationship for these special sneakers, because there's so many other opportunities out there to buy these sneakers. So were you primarily e-commerce, direct to consumer when you launched?
Yeah, actually, we're 100% e-commerce.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so definitely 100%. And honestly, that's the way of the world now. So it's the best way to be.
Guess what? I happen to be a fan of Santia's. You guys, if you're not following her on Instagram, phenomenal. You've been able to get some really good, what we would call big big box stores, or chains that are interested in your product. How did you decide to go that route as well? Because I want to remind any founders who are thinking of having a product, when you sell direct to consumer, you keep some good margins. When you use a retailer to move product, you'll lose a lot of margin. Can we talk a little bit about that, Santia?
Yeah, so with our first I guess B2B opportunity, it was East Bay. And East Bay, funny enough, it's just crazy how God works, but I was actually doing a lot of like influencer work for them. So I had went to some of their flag football games that they were hosting. I went to some of their other events, and I was just, always showing up for them. And I had a really good connection with the guy that was helping me do all that. And so when we actually launched, we contacted him and said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what's going on. We would love to collaborate." He said, "Yeah, why not?" So it was honestly based off of a relationship, which is how we got the first opportunity. But again, that relationship came from social media. So what I would tell people, and I know we're probably going to talk about this later, but I just got to throw this in here. If you are a business, if you are selling a product, make sure that you are building your fan base, your social media base, your followers, your fans, whatever it may be, because when you do that, it makes it so much easier during launch. Because you don't have to go and scramble and figure out, how do I get people to care? How do I get people to know? So for me, it was about making sure that people fell in love with my brand first and who I was, so that when I did put out anything else, they were going to buy because they believed in me. So that's kind of how all of this happened. Now, when we get into the margins, my mom, she's COO, so she's the one that handles all of that. So I don't want to talk about that.
That's fine.
That's her space.
That's fine. I was just giving everybody a heads up, but your founder journey advice just then, outstanding. I'm just going to give you a little round of applause because everybody knows how much I love to celebrate a good founder journey story. So this is important. It is true, especially when launching a product. That's why some folks do crowdfunding. So it's built-in sales and marketing for a product launch. It's just outstanding what you've done. And just to remind founders with products, when a retailer is going to be sharing your product, there's a couple of margin hits that you're going to get, which of course is if you're using a distributor to pick up pallets of your product, they're going to take a nice chunk, like 30%. And the retailer is going to look for a good 35% plus, and along with some marketing, et cetera. So you really want to build up the company and some traction with direct to consumer before you start going to that. But tell us a few of the folks who have picked you up since then.
Yeah, so again, it was East Bay. Now we are currently in Champ Sports, or we will be actually this weekend. We're going to be launching Miami August 6th. Pay us. And then we also just launched literally Thursday and Friday of last week into 4 athlete splits out here in Georgia or Atlanta. And we're also going to be in DC, and we're going to be in Alabama as well. We also have a smaller store called Sneaker Asylum here in Atlanta as well. So yeah, we're moving along.
Well, I mean, Santia, when did you officially launch TRONUS?
So it was June 19th of 2020.
Yeah, so look how far you've come in 2 years. In a pandemic, when people weren't like doing anything contact for a while, and you had all the supply chain challenges, you are now in that delicious stage of proving yourself to be something that maybe Zappos will pick up, right? And then you can get, because the revenue is in the numbers, right? The more you can sell, the less expensive it is to make, the more you can make, et cetera. And as far as that inventory process, I have a few pesky details I have to ask you. So in managing the inventory, and do you have a person on board who does that? Is that part of mom's job as well, making sure that product is available so that when you put that order in those colors and those sizes, because I mean, this is shoes. This isn't just one thing. This is sizes that you have to manage. Talk a little bit about managing that part.
So that's my mom's side of everything. But we do have an amazing fulfillment center.
Yay.
So they keep track of everything. We have a project manager that makes sure that we are nurturing that relationship, making sure that there are no issues going on. I mean, if we are running out of something, we can also, we know that, immediately. But we don't keep any product on hand for the most part. We do have some on hand if we're having a pop-up shop or activation,
Sure.
for example. But for the most part, everything is in our fulfillment center.
I'm so happy you said that, Santia, because I want to remind folks listening that there are people you can outsource this stuff to. You don't stay in your sweet spot. Now, if managing inventory and fulfillment is your jam as a founder, go for it. But you don't have to.
But I salute anyone that's doing that. But that is woo.
Whew, that's no. And yes, someone could look at you and go, "Oh, talking to those people live and do it." Nope, can't do that, right?
True, you're right.
But so you stay in your sweet lane, queen, and bring your deliciousness to the world and let others and outsource, folks, really. And especially female founders, you don't have to do it all yourself. Just saying. It's a typical woman trait. And Mia Voss is saying so much good advice. Santia, build that base. You glow goddess for sure. But you also had to do something else that was so important because, folks, when you're building a product-based company, you have to have funding for the inventory, for all the parts and pieces. How did you do that part of your business? Did you raise capital? Did you bootstrap? Friends and family chipped in? How did that work for you?
It was actually self-funded. So I funded most of it, but we also did the pre-order model. So which is so much easier.
Tell us about that.
So pretty much so before we launched, we did pre-orders. We did pre-orders for about I guess it was about a week out before we actually closed everything down. But we did a countdown on social media, said, hey, we are about to finally launch, our first sneaker. Go ahead and head to the website now to put in your pre-orders before they sell out once we launch to the public. So we pretty much created like a exclusivity model. And people love when they're like, oh, I want to be a part of something. I want to be a part of, so for us, we were like, okay, we know that works because it works on us. So it's also psychology.
Yeah. So
we did that. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Living in the high rise is crazy noises all the time. I'm so sorry. But anyway, so we did that. So we closed the website down right before 24 hours before the time. But before that, we did something even better. We created like a VIP like membership almost. So we had like everybody sign up for the VIP membership, and pretty much we have VIP access. You get to go on our website 2 hours before the public, before anybody else. And so we did that first, and then we launched that 2 hours before we launched to the public. We had a lot of people go in there and buy like crazy. We probably had, I believe, close to 1,000 people sign up to be a VIP member.
Sweet.
Yeah, close to 1,000.
Yeah.
And so they did their thing on the website. Then we opened it up, and then everybody else went in, and that is how we went and did really, really well.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? You created I also call that the rock star fan strategy, right? Anybody, whether hip hop, rap, rock, it doesn't matter. You get that core group of people who you treat like gold.
Exactly.
And then they're going to be like, look what I got. And they're sharing it like crazy everywhere. I'm a VIP.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
I love that. And then they do all that selling for you and you just keep cheering them on. Congratulations. That's a lot to figure out. And I know some of these strategies that you just shared today will serve founders for years to come. They're going to hear this and go, oh, I'm launching XYZ and I'm going to be able to apply that myself. I love how Santia did it. I'm going to go watch her and how she did it.
Yes.
I just love that something fierce. So as we build businesses and have success, and you've of course been an athlete, have had dreams and achievement opportunities that you wanted to reach. But what does success look like for TRONUS for you? And I put this out, and my listeners always know that I'm asking too, what measuring tape are you using? Are you using Santia's tape to measure success? Or are you using what the industry might be expecting or others outside of you are expecting? What does success look like today? And then what do you think in a couple of years down the road?
Success today honestly looks like what we have going on at this very moment. which is
Yay.
getting into these stores, these bigger brands, having activations, continuing to grow our brand the way that we are. And as far as like what success looks like in the future, I would say it's a combination of my measuring stick, but also the industry's measuring stick.
Excellent.
Because we have to live in reality as well. So for us, I always look at what Nike is doing. How far are we from being at the Nike level?
Right.
And that's kind of what we said. What we use in our company is the Nike level. And we are trying our best to. I don't want to say too much, but we are trying our best to make sure that we are going to be able to compete on that level very soon. So for us, we all have very, very big goals and just crazy expectations for ourselves. So I honestly want to be the female version of Nike.
There we go, everybody. We're holding that vision for you. Queen Santia, 100%. And that means regional, national, and then global distribution.
Yes.
And and domination and figuring that out along the way, which is nice. Sometimes our delays help us get better at what we do so that when the big push comes, and sometimes folks, when you're doing inventory, you're going to get a chunk of orders and you're like, oh my gosh, how are we going to fulfill those? Have you had that happen yet?
No, luckily, like our fulfillment center is amazing.
Woo!
Like, we can pretty much take on anything.
Oh my gosh.
We did that first.
And can I ask you a few questions about the sneakers? Because, curious minds want to know the way your high tops come up like this. Why was that important to you?
So the reason why we have the sock part is because I've always been a really big fan of the Balenciaga high tops.
Yeah.
So that was honestly the first thing that I had whenever I thought about creating a shoe. But it helps with support. So if you are someone that might have some ankle issues or anything like that, or if you're an athlete that might not have the best ability, it helps with that. But it also just looks cool. It contours to your ankle. For me, it was about honestly just the aesthetic part of it. I love high tops, so I was like, I have to put out a high top shoe first. But honestly, that's what it was for.
I love it too. And as a mother of a basketball player, watching those ankles roll on all the players, I was like, oh my gosh, please,
protect the ankles.
Protect the ankles at all costs. I just love it. And I love the colors. Thank you. You brought so much vibrancy, etc. And of course, Brent is planting the seed to make sure that, of course, you're diverse as a woman of color and a female founder. But, if there's any opportunities to, bring diversity on board in the disabled world, putting it out there as, Brent does such a good job to remind us, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, we're open to anyone and we don't care shape, color, whatever you may be. If you love the shoe industry, if you want to see this company continue to thrive, we're open to everybody.
So we want to pick your incredible athlete's mind because we all know athletes are the best at having been coached for mindset. I mean, my gosh. And of course, football coaches are renowned for phenomenal mindset coaching. When you have those moments, not if, but when you have those moments like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? What did I get myself into? How am I going to solve that problem? Oh no, that's not what I planned. How have you shifted your mindset? And what advice do you give other founders for shifting a mindset?
One word, gratitude. Yeah. Whenever I feel like I'm in a tornado or something like that, or everything is going wrong around me, I always have to ground myself and remember, look at everything that has happened. Look at what God has blessed you with. Look at where you're at. Look at the fact that you've done this. Like, I have to constantly remind myself, like, okay, it's not as bad as it seems. And also just making sure that I keep myself centered at all times, because being in this industry, definitely being a young company, there's always something that might possibly go wrong. There's always times where it's like, oh my gosh, I totally thought we were gonna nail this and it didn't work out. We missed the mark. we didn't have the turnout, whatever it may be. And it can easily be just like, honestly, like just, I can't even think of the word. It's just, it can just be depressing, to be kind of, I don't, yeah,
Oh gosh, yeah.
that's the best word for me to use, because it's like, wow, I put everything into this. I put all into this, my team, we're excited, we're ready. And it just didn't work out. So I have to always remind myself, like, okay, we are young, we're growing, we're learning along the way, and we're making progress. And for me, as long as I'm making progress, no matter how slow or how small it may be, that's what keeps me going. And then also, honestly, seeing the smiles on my customers' faces, and when I meet people, just walking down the street or wherever I may be, and they're like, man, I love your shoes. They help my feet. They help this. They did this for me. That lets me know and reminds you, okay, I'm supposed to be here. Everything that I'm going through is for a reason, and one day I'm gonna know why. And honestly, since I've adopted that attitude, things have been going amazing. But let me tell you, there's mornings where I'm like, do I want to do this? Do I want to continue?
It is so hard. And I'm going to put on, you said this wonderful word about progress. I thought I wrote it down. You said always be progressing, always be moving forward. This is, folks, I'm so sorry. You heard it. You probably remembered it, but I got so caught up in and all the other wonderful comments that Santia was saying. But I wanted to do a stitch that on a pillow moment. And we can just even say gratitude, right, folks? As long as you're making progress. I think that's the stitch that on a pillow moment, because gratitude, of course, is important, but keep moving forward. You're going to have days where you get pushed back, right, Santia? And it gets really hard, especially when you have inventory. I'm just saying. And so what you've done is really the smiles on your customers' faces, things like that, can really keep you moving forward and taking those important steps. So now you are fully entrenched as a female founder. You are in entrepreneurship to win it. How has this experience served you both professionally and personally?
Man, where do I start? It's opened up so many doors that I did not think were possible, for me. I come from a background of being very shy. I'm very much an introvert. But this has opened me up to honestly being more confident even who I am, because I've had opportunities to speak and to, again, meet people and hear their stories, and it inspired me to continue my journey. But it's made me just a more confident woman. It's made me realize that the impossible is not impossible. So it reminds me all the time that glass ceilings are meant to be broken. And so I just always keep that with me. But honestly, it just has, like I said, it has made me just I don't know, I have so much gratitude. And I said that I didn't have that before, but I think when you go through building a company
Yeah.
and building it to the degree that we're trying to, and having the trials and tribulations, and having almost to be at your wits end, and like, oh my gosh, like I can't do this, at some points, and then to see it turn around before your eyes, see like, okay, everything's working now, God is working. To say that I'm humbled is not even a word, what I'm saying? But I realize like what it takes, and like the grit that you have to have in life to really be successful. I know people talk about that, like, oh, how bad do you want it? You have to want it as bad as you breathe. But to actually really live that every day is like, yes, like this is like, the strongest survive almost. So it made me such a strong person.
I gotta tell you,
I know I said a lot, sorry.
No, it's the truth. And you said it so well. You said it and expressed it as a true entrepreneur, which is you understand the frailty of your business and you understand the frailty of the human journey. But when you can pull together the right mindset and keep moving forward and expressing the gratitude for the learning opportunity, this is why I always say you never lose when you launch a business, you only win.
Yes.
And you just exemplified that and illustrated that you are a stronger woman. There's nothing they're going to be able to take out between your ears or in your heart, your courageousness. and your fortitude and your persistence and resilience that you've built. I mean, you did a lot of that as an athlete, of course, but now as a founder, a lot more is at stake. And so it requires a deeper level of self-knowledge and awareness. And I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for all of us that we got to have this moment with you and hear your startup stories and pull some gems out of you, because you were very generous in sharing the nuts and bolts and some of the gifts. Folks, sometimes it's luck. Okay. You get the right introduction because you showed up on social media. You met the right person. You built up your audience. This person happened to have the connections in manufacturing. And you were able, though, to take that ball and run with it, you running back you.
Yes, for sure.
So thank you for sharing that. We're so excited. We're all cheering you on at TRONUS. Everybody, we got to go buy a pair. Come on. I saw those colors that match my fabulous Tiffany blue that I have on today, the blue and white. Those are what I have my eye on. And anything that can make us more comfortable. But also, I love that you showed folks that you can enter a really crowded, saturated market and bring your own deliciousness, your own brand promise, and how you're going to deliver, and another new style and innovation. So congratulations, Santia, on everything.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so excited for you and for your mom. Oh my gosh, Mom, mwah, to you.
Yeah, she's
for
amazing.
Bringing the that wonderful left brain as well to the game with all the numbers and operations. And I love that you have that team together. All right, I'm going to pop you in the green room. I'm going to wrap up the show. I'll be right with you in just a second, but I'm going to go into full screen. Oh my gosh, if you were just thinking for a second that this was not for you, founderhood is an extraordinary journey, and Santia's journey is so amazing. I'm just so happy for her and her team and what they're doing at TRONUS. So speaking of startups, and one of the biggest challenges with startups is hiring, because a lot of times we don't have the funds, right, to pull someone off their high, market rate and join us. So next, this Friday, 12 p.m. on August 5th, we're chatting with a woman who is renowned for attracting top talent when you're a startup. Mandy Edmond is known among VCs in the Bay Area as having an uncanny ability to define the go-to-market leadership needs of an early stage company. And she really loves working with early stage hiring teams, providing clarity, which we so need, on what is needed in a role, and helping founders with their pitch to top talent. So we're going to learn a lot from Mandy. And remember, join the Startup Life Live meetup group so you receive an alert whenever we post a new show, because there's a founder that you need to learn from, right, and their journey. So I'm so grateful that you carved out time. Please share the love, share the video or the podcast with folks that you know would benefit from this conversation. And I'll see you next time. Wishing you a delicious day everywhere you glow. Mwah. Remember, you've got this for sure. See you next time.